Howdy, folks. Welcome back. This is the Extend podcast, and I have changed the name. Yes, I did. And the reason I did that is because over the course of time, the last couple of years, I have really incorporated health span and lifespan, i.e., longevity, into not only what I do, but what I share with you guys. And I figured what better way to put an emphasis on that than change the name. So you can still reach me at stealyourbodyback.com, which will redirect to extendprogram.com. And if you want more information on what I'm doing, just stick around. I'll share that with you. But you can also reach out to me via email to extendprogram support@extendprogram.com. All right, so let's just jump right in. What is the number one thing that you can do that will prevent cognitive decline? And first off, let's define cognitive decline. In layman's terms, that just means it falls under the umbrella of neurodegenerative conditions or illness or disease. Think of Alzheimer's and dementia at worst case scenario, and to some degree Parkinson's, even though Parkinson's is more along the lines of a movement disorder, it still falls under that neurocognitive umbrella. But even just, stripped down cognitive decline, and you've all experienced this. If you've Oh gosh, let's say you walk into a room and you forgot what you're going in there for, or you had a list of things to do yesterday, or you're laying in bed last night, you had a list of things to do, two things, three things, and then you wake up this morning completely gone. Can't remember one thing on the list. That's cognitive decline. And it doesn't have to be the norm just because we age. It's not normal. And this one thing that you can do will help prevent not only cognitive decline but neurodegenerative diseases. So number one, I didn't even tell you what it was. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the number one thing you can do is exercise. And why is that? I'm going to list 7 things that are so important as far as exercise go from a physiological standpoint and what happens to your brain when you exercise. So the first thing is probably obvious, but you're increasing cerebral blood flow. And what does that mean? Well, you're increasing blood flow to the brain, which means you're bringing in vital nutrients and oxygen. And think of this, if you've ever been in a situation where, let's say in the middle of the afternoon, you're kind of foggy or you lethargic or whatever, something similar, and you decide to get up and walk around the office or take a walk outside, and then you feel better. That's improved cerebral blood flow at its finest. So not only you're receiving new oxygen and nutrients, but you're removing toxins in the form of in with the old, out with the, or in with the new, out with the old. All right, so the number 2 reason why exercise is so crucial is neurogenesis. And think of that as just forming new brain cells, simple as that. And when you do or participate in physical activity, you're stimulating the production of something called BDNF. And that is an acronym for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And simply put, that's just a protein that you need to make new brain cells. Simple definition. Specifically in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is an area of the brain that has to do with learning and memory. And if you know anything, or you've had any experience with Alzheimer's or dementia patients, those are 2 areas that they really struggle with. And that's why memory care facilities are called memory care facilities, because these patients have trouble with learning anything new, and with memory, because that hippocampus has suffered damage in the form of not creating new brain cells to replace the old ones that have been damaged. So hence the struggle with learning, with motor skills, with their processing speed when they're trying to do something. And do something new is really, really, really challenging. That's why these folks really do well with a routine. They have to have the same thing every day, same time every day. So neurogenesis, brain drive, neurotrophic factor. All right, so number 3 is it helps reduce systemic inflammation. What is systemic inflammation? Think of your body as a system. It's one big system that houses a lot of little systems. And exercise reduces systemic inflammation, meaning head to toe inflammation. And obviously, systemic inflammation has been shown over and over and over again to be associated with cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. And when you reduce those inflammatory markers in the form of exercise, what you're doing is you're directly protecting the brain from the detrimental effects of inflammation. And that's a hot topic right now in any form of fitness or health is inflammation. So if I were you, I'd be paying attention to the inflammation thing. So the 4th thing is enhanced mitochondrial function. And if you remember anything from high school biology, I'm sure that word mitochondria sticks out. That's the powerhouse of the cell. You know, we all have mitochondria within our cells. It's the energy producing organelles in the cell, and it's crucial for brain health. And simply put, exercise improves mitochondrial function and efficiency. So you think better, your processing speed is better, you're better able to regulate brain metabolism, which again, all crucial for cognitive performance. So number 5, and to me, this is a really big one because I'm just really a fanatic about metabolic stability because it has shown to be a precursor to so many different types of diseases. And cancer is a big one, many forms of cancer, cardiovascular risk, obviously metabolic instability. So exercise, simply put, increases insulin sensitivity. And we want to be sensitive to insulin. We do, because if we're not, we continuously, our body has to pump out more and more insulin to get the same response, which would be pulling blood sugar from our bloodstream. And we need to get it out of bloodstream and shuttled into the muscle cells and the brain where it's used for energy. That's the whole purpose of what insulin does. It regulates your blood sugar and glucose metabolism. And the brain relies very, very heavily on glucose for energy. So if you have stable glucose, this is preserving cognitive function, very simply put. And like I'd mentioned, we're going to transition here into number 6, but like I'd mentioned earlier, when you have metabolic stability, you're taking care of your cardiovascular system, your heart, and your lungs and your circulation. And exercise reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, which is very, very closely related to cognitive decline. So when you're performing exercise, you're also reducing cholesterol levels, you're also balancing and regulating your blood pressure and many other cardiovascular risk. So it's accurate to say that exercise directly supports cognitive health based on those factors. And this is the last one, but again, we could make the list 2 or 3 times as long as this, but I think you get the picture of how crucial exercise is to not only lifespan, but health span as well. So the last one is stress reduction and mental health. So regular physical activity, it helps manage stress and the hormones of stress, specifically cortisol. And think of cortisol as if you're out in the evening and you're going to say bye to your friends and you're cut down an alley to go to the parking lot, which is on the next street over. And you're walking down this dark alley and you hear someone behind you. Well, you're probably going to get a little bit frightened. Then you start, let me say, you pick up your pace. That's cortisol that you're on heightened alert. or, you know, in old school days, a bear was chasing you or whatever, tiger, whatever. That's cortisol. And unfortunately, you know, we don't need to walk down a dark alley or have an animal or a wild animal chase us to invoke that stress response and increase cortisol. Most of our lives, most of our lives, meaning most of the population, lives within in a heightened state of alert. So our cortisol is always high, and that is not good. Our body is not designed to live in that fight or flight mode. And mostly it's the fight mode. You know, we're on high alert. And when you engage in regular physical activity, you're managing stress, you're reducing cortisol. And unless you've been living under a rock, you know that chronic stress is a major form of not only cardiovascular disease, but cognitive decline as well. And exercise directly affects this by offering a protective effect for cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases. So that is what I've got for you. And guys, listen, it's never too late to start. It is never, ever, ever too late to start eating right, bettering your life with a good diet and exercise. And you could potentially add, I guess this is research, it's not me saying this, but it's the research shows that, you know, depending on if you have other comorbidities, you know, other illnesses, and you smoke and you don't exercise and you take blood pressure medicine and you're diabetic and kidney issues, you know, depending on other issues that you have, exercise alone can reduce your risk of dying early and dying with a potential slow death disease by up to 50%, up to 50%. Again, depending on what other concerns and issues that you have. So I hope by now that you can see the importance of what exercise can contribute to your life. And it doesn't take long to see the benefits of this. If you have any questions on how to get going, or if you're going now, you're exercising now, if you're air quotes doing it right, or if you just need to mix it up, or you're just not sure, you just have questions, by all means, please reach out to me, support@extendprogram.com. And I would love to talk to you about that and see if we can get you going on the right path. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. And I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you very soon.